I just realized none of you guys can hear that music except for the people who are on YouTube. So, anyways, hey guys, we're here for another episode of the Gorilla KHODDcast, here to wrap up the events for January, even though it's February by the time of this recording, of this stream. But, you know, that's what we do. So, let's get the show on the road. With me today, we have Hate, Loot, and Ogre. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
Kage's here
Sweet.
too.
Kage's here too.
So, we're all a little bit tired, mainly due to raids, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But let's get into the topics for today. So, as usual, we'll wrap up our thoughts on the January characters and how we thought they impacted the meta. We'll talk about the Parallax Siege. We'll talk about the February characters coming up. We'll give thoughts on the raids that are currently going on right now and going to end in a day or so, or 12 hours or so. And then we'll talk about some topics from a couple of our patrons at the higher levels. And then we'll just wrap up with some announcements. And then anyone who is live on Discord or on YouTube can feel free to ask us any questions, and we'll answer them on air. And reminder, if you're there on Discord, if you want to ask your question publicly, like live on the air, just let me know in chat, and I'll give you the permission to talk, and then we can get to it. So, let's start with the January characters and their impact on the meta. So, hey, what did you think about Satan Parallax first?
Saint Walker's pretty cool. He's really good. He's up there in the upper echelon of leaders. Parallax, I didn't get to play at all. I geared him for raids, and then raids started, and I haven't even got to use him yet.
Alrighty. So, Ogre, what do you think about these new characters? Have you played with the Lanterns?
Nope.
Nope.
Your mic's picking up your breathing, I think.
Me?
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
maybe.
Alright. Okay. Alright. So,
No,
Kage,
I didn't play with them at all. So.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Kage, have you played with Saint and Parallax or Parallax?
I played with Saint, not played with Parallax.
Has anybody played with Parallax? Can we have some feedback? Loot, have you played with Parallax?
Yes, I played with Parallax.
All right, tell us about Parallax.
Well, I don't like him.
Okay, this is going to be a
He's
short
just
cast.
not a good character.
So I wanted, like, there were a lot of cool things on paper that he could have done, but in reality, I don't know. He's just not very good. Like,
Tell me how much he's not good.
he just really sucks.
Like,
he's
like,
bad.
is he trashed here? Is he?
No, all right. He's not trash. He's not trash here. But like,
Boy likes him. But he
Yeah.
ranks him as a B character still, even in Du Bois Lantern hype.
Well,
So.
the boy
Yeah.
is the most biased character. person
I mean, he's so biased, and he's still even 2Dtron isn't that high on him, which is, it's not.
If 2Dtron's not high on you, you know you failed as a character.
I'm thinking,
You're a non-meta
I'm
character
thinking
anyway.
he's more C. He just
He's
does nothing.
he's not bad. He's kind of fun. I think he's interesting. I'm looking forward to testing him after raids, but
I'm
He
not.
just doesn't
I haven't
really
played with him
do
yet.
anything.
I wanted to play him. I geared him, but I was the stupid gear mission, so I couldn't use them, and I wanted to wait until the new characters came out so I could start gearing them.
So, I mean, basically, no one really likes Parallax, or for those who have played him, and everyone else is kind of just like, let's slow gear him because everyone says he sucks. So he's one of those
Yeah.
characters.
I didn't want to leave him as a super slow gear, but I needed to at least end the month with him.
Actually,
He wasn't a character I was
think-
going to rush ahead because I'm going to do Cassandra Kane faster. So
I would recommend for
Reserve
anybody
the
that
mission.
needs a slow gear, I'd recommend him being that character.
All right, that's fair enough. So he's not like Ra's al Ghul tier, but he's not really worth it right now.
Yeah, well, the problem has to do. He's
he's
like
a lot better than
rage-based.
that. He's just not. He's just an average, maybe slightly below average character that doesn't really, unless you're trying to build an enraged team. I don't really think, or maybe I'm going to test some beefcake teams with him but I think he's going to be very niche,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have like a
So-
particular niche that you really want to build.
So, what do we think about Saint then? I guess since everyone has had a bit of a chance to play with him.
He's good.
Okay.
Good
Would you
He's
leader.
say
pretty good.
now? Would you say that he's S tier, as some people were ranking him before he came out?
We don't know.
I think
It's
he's
hard.
borderline.
I would lean more towards A than S.
Mhm.
Borderline.
Okay.
He's like an A plus, low S, because he does make your characters much better, and he's got a great kit, but he's still a little outshined, I think, by Lex.
Right.
Yeah, Lex just raised the bar a bit. I think I'm with Loot. I put him as an A because, well, first players want to see, your characters physically doing something. With Lex, you see your characters getting buff, getting beefier, getting faster. Saint, the stats are there, but you don't see it in play. Other than, oh my god, my character survived. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It does
So
make sense.
he's kind of like that. And then the problem is, Lex is just too good. Lex and Red Hood just raised the bar. So
So basically, what would it take for Saint to be on par with these guys? Because he's doing a lot already, but what doesn't he have basically?
well, Saint by himself doesn't do a lot of damage unless, well, he does only good damage if he's by himself. Otherwise, the strength of his kit relies on the strength of his teammates. So he's not going to make Ra's al Ghul look good, but he's going to make your Black Adam look better.
Okay, fair enough. So here's another thing that I was considering when I was thinking about Saint. When you think about similar leaders, so we can't, if we're not going to put him into S tier, let's say we put him into A tier. Can we compare him, for example, to Atrocitus or to Hal Jordan Green Lantern, for example? So what do you guys think about when you compare those leaders? Anyone?
I think he's better than Atrocitus. I think he's like in there in the top 4 or 5 leaders. I mean, Hal Jordan is. I think Hal Jordan's as good. Well, not maybe like just a breath behind Lex, and even better in some cases, depending on the match. But with Saint Walker, he's kind of he does other things than those two. He's not quite as dominant in a match, but he makes your team much stronger. And I think on defense too, he's pretty good if you don't bring a speed team to counter it.
All right, that's reasonable. So then, if we're thinking about where Saint is going now, is there anything that we can build around him? Like, is there like a composition that has anyone found? Or I'd probably have to defer to Du Bois, who's like the Lantern Master. But is there any comp that really takes advantage of what he brings to the table right now?
B12, what M4 was saying, Brainiac is awesome with him because he starts with the shielding. He gives your team that speed that you need to be able to keep up with the Lex teams. So, and then I think some of the beefier characters gain so much from him. There's a lot of good characters for him.
I think the characters that really shine with Saint Walker are like Arceus or Alan Scott because their kit requires shielding, and he's all about that. And then there's Penguin. Penguin is great with him. I don't know those kinds of characters.
Then what M4 and 2D trying to say? Characters that have multiple attacks. So like Red Hood is so good with him. Any characters that do double basics, that can attack multiple times when they're called assist. A Power Girl, she can punch 4 times in a row.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
So there's a lot of interesting comps. I think he's one of those leaders that he's going to be here to stay. He's not going to fade out real quick.
He's just not going to be meta.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be when you're looking to clear your board and win matches fast, you're going to turn to Lex and Hal still. But
Yeah.
he's got a place. You can run him. It's kind of like Red Hood as a leader. I think they're kind of in the same category. You don't run him all the time, but you're not sad when you do.
All right. Ogre, do you have something to say about Saint?
I had a question actually. Did anybody
Sure.
try out like Two-Face with him?
Ooh.
I think I did once or twice, but I hadn't again.
I mean, they're just like the way you guys are talking about multiple attacks and like assists and everything. It's like maybe Two-Face is good. I don't know.
It would be.
Good
It's a fun experiment. I'm gonna have to test that when raids are over and I can play again. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, just have not had time to PvP.
Yeah, I haven't run a single PvP match since raid started. So
God.
Hate,
All right.
I hate raids so much.
But then you look at all those resources that you gain after raids that you kind of
I mean,
paid for.
I'm not really free to play, so that's never been that much of an issue.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, I mean, let's go on to the next two lanterns then. So, what do we think about Yellow Lantern Sinestro and Arcus? So, Luke, what do you think about the new guys or the new reworks?
Arcus is really strong. He punches super hard. He's a
I don't
little.
hear you, Luke.
You can't hear me?
I see you talking though.
I can hear you.
We all hear him just fine.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can hear Loot.
I don't hear him at
Can
all.
you guys hear me? Yes, no?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. It's
Hate's
just
not
hate
here.
mail.
Hate's
Hate can't hear me?
showing his old age.
I hear everybody else but Luke. That's really strange.
That's really
So weird.
All right,
do you have
I'll
it?
make-
Do you have it muted?
comment.
No, I just checked.
I'll
Weird.
comment.
Okay,
and
no,
then
that's fine.
I'll,
If you guys can
I'll
hear him,
leave
then.
the audio and
If
come
Luke
back in,
addresses
and maybe
me, then
that'll
I
fix
won't hear it. Just so you know.
Oh my god, you guys are
Yeah.
talking over each other.
It's like you guys are talking over each other. It's all right. Anyways, so what were you saying, Luke, on the new guys? Arcus is really strong. He punches
Arcus
everyone.
is really strong, punches really hard. He's really squishy. But I would say good rework. He's good. I think Arcus is significantly better than he was before.
Okay.
I think
Fair
they did a nice job on his stats, and he's good. I have nothing bad to say about him. Would be nice maybe if he had a little bit more health, but maybe that would make him too OP. And then Yellow Lantern Sinestro, I don't really see that big of a difference. To me, he's still bad.
Okay.
Is that because of his damage, or is that because you don't like his kit?
It's because of his damage. Like
Okay.
His damage didn't improve at all. Like really?
Not at my level of play. No.
Alrighty. So when we come down to it, it's basically just Arcus who's stealing the show right now, and Saint is kind of like, he's there to party, and everyone else is kind of like nothing really happened. That's what your take is on the lanterns this month.
Yeah, Arcus is awesome. Saint's really good, and then Parallax I think is terrible, and YLS is mediocre.
All right, that's fair. Does anyone else have similar thoughts on like the two reworks?
Yes, my thoughts were identical.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I don't know. What
Can you hear him now?
No.
I'm gonna drop out of the audio and come back in and see if it fixes it.
All right.
So I like Arcus a lot, and I actually like Mr. Sinestro a lot too.
Alrighty. So why do you like Celestial?
He's fun. He's a fun kit. He's not great. He's not gonna be meta. He's not there for damage. He's not there to do a whole lot, but he has a cool kit where he can enrage people. He can turn meter. He can purge. So those are nice tools to have.
Yeah. I agree that like Yellow Lantern Sinestro basically his kit is like well rounded, but it's not like super amazing to this like to push him over the top. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't go crazy with his kit because he would have been overpowered if you nudged him a little bit too far. I feel like they pushed his buzzsaws up a lot. I felt that like if they pushed it any more, it'd have been like maybe like Black Lantern level damage, right? He still does really good damage as it is, though. So,
I think
what
that's
else was
what
there?
players. I think players just are waiting for the next Black Adam, waiting for the next
Mhm.
Lex Luthor. You know, characters who have been in the bench
Yeah.
for so long, finally get into the limelight.
Like the one thing that I was trying to compare to was that what's his name? Like Yellow Lantern Sinestro's, his basic with the purging is what I really like, because he's a green character that purges on his basic. It's kind of like having a Red Robin around too. So when I was playing with him in Siege, I would actually use Saint to call his assist, so that he would hit off, like he'd purge off the what you call it, the taunter. So if there's like a Power Girl or someone on their team, right? That way your Arcus can set up and just like crush everything after that. So it works out pretty well.
I don't know what Luke said, but I like Yellow Lantern Sinestro. Okay, I think he's a decent character. I don't think he's bad. He's not great, but he's not bad.
All right, fair enough.
Arcus, I do. I struggle with him. What tier I'm going to put him in later, because he is S tier often. Like on offense, when you're using him, he's like an S tier character, but on defense, he's an idiot. And on auto, he's an idiot. But
Compare him to. Would he be easy to compare to? What's his
Deadshot
name?
hired gun.
Well, no, I was thinking of another Lantern. What's his name? Larfleeze.
He doesn't have the purge, so that
Mhm.
like he's missing a little bit of the utility that you see from Larfleeze. But yeah, he does so much damage, and he doesn't require hardly any ramp up. So
Fair enough.
and he can
pure
keep himself
damage.
alive with
That's
that
his
death
kit.
immunity.
Yeah, Luke's talking now. Can you hear him?
Actually, I do hear him now.
Yay!
Disconnected and reconnected. And
All right.
seemed to fix it.
The solution to all your IT problems: unplug and plug it back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine. Jeez.
All right. So,
Did you jiggle the handle?
Ogre, what'd you think about the reworks to Arcus and Yellow Lantern Sinestro? Have you played with them?
They looked good on paper. But no,
Right.
I have not played with them.
Okay, fair enough.
Ogre's the true free to play here. He doesn't gear anyone.
Alrighty.
Like, I have
Fair.
everybody, like, not everybody anymore, but I used to have everybody, at least at Gear 4, and at least at level, like, 30, and I used to have played with them at least a little bit, and I don't do that anymore. Like, I've been focused on other things. Like, I haven't even brought up the bleed roster to completion again. I've been doing other things.
it's because you're
I've
meta.
brought up, like,
It's because you're
I've brought
getting
up, like,
meta
8
now.
meta characters now, yeah.
You don't need
Meta
any other
characters
characters
now.
anymore.
Can you tell people about your shame? Your shame, your Gear 11 Wonder Girl.
Wonder Girl, yeah.
Shame.
Like, to be fair though, I would have geared her out just because she was Titan. She could be Blue Beetle, who is on my agenda to gear at some point, and I would have still geared her. Maybe
Okay,
not
all right.
right
You
away,
might redeem
but I
yourself if
would've.
you do that, because Blue Beetle is like the furthest thing from meta.
Yes, I know, but he's a Titan, and that's how I play.
All right, fair enough. Um,
Even if Blue Beetle sucks, it gives 25% extra chance for Beast Boy to punch you. That's what matters.
Alrighty. So we are going on to we're going to move on to the siege. Now, I guess we're not going to get much comments from the Owls because of this siege, right? So is there
We
not
didn't
much
have
to
a
talk
good
about?
seed, so we're not going to talk about it.
All right. So are we just ignoring it for like it wasn't a thing?
DP, how's Japan?
It's all right. I dislike Tokyo a lot, though.
I'm actually
don't.
thinking about visiting Tokyo this year. I don't know yet. I heard their 7-Eleven's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, 7-Eleven is a bit different here. I mean, it's like comparing. How can you say it? It's the same franchise, but they sell very different things. I can't explain it.
I
They
know.
don't have.
I know.
They don't. They don't have like mixed drinks or whatever. What do you call it? Those things? Slurpees? They don't have Slurpees here.
We're
Right.
getting way sidetracked.
All right. Let's move on from the Siege because no one wants to talk about it. So, did anyone actually play it? Seriously though, like Ogre, did you play it?
I played some battles.
All right.
I think I ended up with like 100 frags.
All right.
Something. Yeah. So no.
All right. So, I mean, on my end, I played a bit, and like I was saying, I was enjoying the whole composition with all the lanterns. So that was fun. But what I ended up finding myself having to do is like take out my 4th slot and put in like a fast character like Green Arrow Castaway to be able to sort of just keep up with the other teams. Especially with teams running Lex, most of the times it's like your Green Arrow versus their Green Arrow, and then just so that you can keep going. And that's the biggest problem with the Lex teams, as everyone's has.
I'm hoping we see, I don't, and it's sad that Vixen doesn't do it better. They really wanted to see like a counter to speed teams because they're kind of starting to get a little bored already of who can slot the fastest character.
That's fair.
Yeah, some jerkwad puts in Brainiac 12, then you got to bring your own Iron Flash or Brainiac 12.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are like those situations where it's kind of just like, well, do you want to just like play a regular PvP in Siege, or do you want to just like try your best with like the Siege characters? But then most of the time, if you try your best, you're probably gonna lose. So, yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, let's move on from Siege then. Let's talk about something more exciting. Let's talk about February characters. So the Birds of Prey characters. So this time around, we got Orphan
Is
and
that what
Black
they
Mask.
are? I thought they were just Batman.
Nope, it's Birds of Prey characters. I don't know about Vixen though. Vixen is kind of like, is she considered a bird of prey? I mean, she can transform into a bird.
If you look back in like the history, I believe she was considered a bird of prey.
My gosh, some DC knowledge from Luke.
Yeah, which is by the way all off of Wikipedia because I don't know anything about the DC universe. I know nothing. So
I'm surprised that you looked that up though. So
well, I was trying to figure out why would Vixen be a part of this line.
I mean,
only because you wanted Harley Quinn like everybody else did.
I just figured that she would just transform into a bird. So
no, Vixen's actually worked with the Bird of Prey.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I didn't know that. So, all right. So first, let's talk about the 2 new characters. Now, we don't know about Orphan yet, but we only know about her from on paper, unless Loot already went nuts and has her already.
We haven't gotten to do anything.
I have her, but I didn't really start using her yet. So she's not geared. She's bought, but she's not touched. All
right. Let's go to Black Mask, I guess then, since we don't really know much about Orphan yet. So, start with Hate. What do you think about Black Mask? Have you played with him yet?
He looks cool, but once again, they dropped Raid started, so nobody's had any chance to play him at all. He looks cool. I mean, but I haven't run a single PvP match since Raids have started, so I think he's going to be a very good character. Just facing him in the event to get his shards, I got that Constantine vibe, but I think strength downs are going to be better because it's going to slow down the meta characters like the Wonder Girls and the Castaway Green Arrows until he gets his buff immunity. So
there's a lot more meta characters that rely on strength.
I actually was playing with him on my stream last night, and I gotta say, the little I played with him, I'm actually very impressed. And he's I haven't taken any legendary points on him yet. He's basically a glorified R5 character for me, but he's so good.
The call assist.
He was really good.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
that's
Black
promising.
Adam.
He was actually really good in the event. I don't know if you guys noticed how many debuffs were on your characters during those fights. It was ridiculous. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible.
So Black Adam nuked my team, and this guy just turned everything around.
Yep. Like
I think he's
basically
going to be a
buff
nightmare to face
immunities.
in Siege.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He-
that's why I was scared about this siege coming up.
I wonder. I basically I wonder how he's going to pair with Constantine, as M4 is talking about, because
Oh, it's going to be
that
gorgeous.
yeah,
It's
We'll
going to
see
be
what
gorgeous, and I'm looking forward to that.
that's one of the type of teams that I want to work on, like the debuff team, like something like Constantine and Riddler and like Black Mask. That would be pretty cool.
Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Just
Cool,
all
cool.
the debuffs all the time.
I'm excited for
Oh.
the Siege, though, because of Catwoman and Killer Frost.
You
I
get
was
play
going to
with those.
only go for top 20 going forward to conserve energy, but I think the Siege I kind of...
So you're gonna break out and whip.
I don't
whip
know.
out
I'm
your
going to start
male
and see
team.
how it goes. If I have a few early losses, then I'll just settle for... Because I didn't want to buy every day. But
Fair enough.
But Killer Frost and Catwoman makes it
All right.
worth doing.
So let's get to the other topic then. The two reworks, Huntress and Vixen. So what do we think about either of these characters? Because they just were released, right? So Ogre, have you played with any of these guys? The reworks?
I have my Vixen geared up and everything, and I haven't actually played with her in PvP yet.
Oh, really?
I've been having too much fun with Lax.
Fair. It seems to be the norm.
Who
But
does he think he
Like
is?
I thought you
still
were gonna be
having
the
fun with
person-
Lax.
Busy playing Magic Mana Strike.
That too, yeah. I actually
I-
don't play that as much as it looks like, but
Because I thought Ogre would be the person who has the most experience with Vixen from his bleed days, right? So
like, okay, so
Not meta.
just
So.
the few changes that they made, she looks a lot better, I think.
okay.
So, like, I was watching Kage stream last night, and the couple of matches that he used her in, she looked a lot better than she was. Like, Kage still says she's not as good, but I'm like, she looks great. What are you talking about?
So I like her, but if you're putting her next to Huntress, don't even think about it. But by herself, on a few like niche matchups, like I don't like her versus Lex. It's not that great, but versus a lot of other teams, I think her leadership really shines because they buff and her team gains Terminator.
Okay, Kage, something that happened in your stream last night. I literally watched your Vixen turn 1. Nobody else has gone. Use her bear attack on a power girl who had death immunity and taunt and killed her.
Mhm.
Like,
That bear ability is a lot better than it was. I've been running her. I replaced Hal Jordan with Vixen, and while Hal is still better, she did pretty darn good.
Yeah, she's actually decent. I'll say that.
Bear attack is much better because it does so much more damage now that it's special damage. You can really nuke
Mhm.
down death immune characters. She's great against Arcus.
All right. So I'm actually just like fiddling around with like the sound on YouTube. People are telling me the sound on YouTube is actually messed up. Does it sound better now? Anyone? Anyways, so hopefully it sounds better now. I think I realized that I was using the wrong mic on YouTube, so it wasn't picking it up. When I mean by YouTube, I mean OBS. So, okay. Hopefully it's better now. I have to wait actually because there's like a delay.
The comment that I would make about Vixen in this coming siege is that there seems to be a lot of red characters in this siege, and I think she's going to get owned.
She's tanky enough to survive it, though.
Can she survive Huntress?
She can take a full shot to the face if she's leader.
Okay.
with the legendary upgrade.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Alrighty. So I'm trying to figure out this whole audio problem while you guys are talking, but all right. Anyways, I think that is what it is. We'll figure that out later. All right. Let's move on from there. So far this month looks exciting. Hopefully, Orphan's going to be good. What do you guys think about her on paper?
I actually, well, her first starters, her animations are awesome. I love her animations, especially her crotch grab attack. That's hilarious to me.
Did you just say her crotch grab?
Her crotch, or her crotch grab.
Did you just say she has a crotch grab?
Yes, if you watch her animations, look at her too.
Instant.
She like does this
right
like
there.
punch,
Oh my
punch, and then
god,
grabs her
she's
crotch.
S tier. Best character in the game. Are you
Wonder
kidding
Girl,
me?
move over.
I love how we just like all of a sudden they got excited.
S tier character right there. She's S plus. She's a tier of her own.
She rips your nuts off.
Yeah. So
I don't know
anyways.
anyone who can survive getting their nuts ripped off. Can you?
Wonder Girl probably.
Funny. That was good. That was good. All right. So, let's talk about what everyone is being distracted with right now, and probably like doing at the same time. Raids. So, are we happy that raids are back now?
Kill me now.
Kill me now, but I'm happy they're here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm torn between this raid does seem a little like faster. I mean, I haven't played much because I was so busy at work. I didn't play at all pretty much Wednesday, Thursday, except for in the evenings, and then played off and on yesterday while I was doing drywall. And I still got to like 220 million, so that's not bad. And since we've been sitting here this morning, we've already passed the 300 million marker. But I still think about laying in front of railroad tracks while I'm playing it all the time. So
It is pretty boring. I mean, it's so repetitive, right? It's just the same things over and over again. And I feel like, and also these heroes this time around, they're the same ones that we've had. Was the last iteration was exactly the same? Has anything changed?
not really, but
No.
I mean, it really doesn't really matter.
I mean, it doesn't, but there was that terrible one where there was like a bunch of scarecrows and man bats. That one was terrible.
That one was harder.
Yes.
That was the hardest. That was the hardest one.
That was the one no one could finish because it would take so long to like kill them.
And then the other big horrible thing,
I think there was like 8 people that finished.
and Board's bringing up, the Alliance MVP was removed. So after this raid, because everybody had a lot of it stocked up, after this raid, we're all gonna die for solo energy. Like it's gonna cost like
Wow.
1,000 gold, or 100,000 gold to farm to 500 million.
Oh yeah, they really dropped the ball. I can't believe they removed that. We have no way to replenish that energy. Kind of sucks.
And I don't know if I'm gonna. I mean, one, I don't know if I want to go to 500 million anyway. So this may be the last 500 million I do, because I'm not gonna spend 100,000 gold for 5 rebirth tokens.
So, what
Yeah,
can we
that's
take?
$400.
Is there anything positive we could take away from this, at least
No.
in terms of the last time and this time? Like compared,
Well, that they added skins.
that's what I was gonna say. It's like it's the only thing that was positive. As soon as they released it, they released the Hal Jordan skin, right? So,
And the winners of like top 500 or whatever get Atrocitus.
oh,
Seems
wait,
like it's
really?
gonna be really easy to get to too. I mean, because
It's still top 500. It's a big middle finger to anybody who's not a whale.
I don't think so. You can get top 500 without being a whale. You
Wait,
may have to
is
spend
it-
a little
Is it
bit.
the solo
There
one or
will
is it the
not-
Alliance one?
It's still low.
It's
I can tell
Solo
you
one.
as a fact,
Wow.
there will not be 500 million people. It's not going to happen. I would be surprised, totally surprised.
But you only had to place
there
rank
were
500.
30.
Luke. You only
You
had to
just have to be
place
ranked
rank
500.
500 to get
No,
the skin.
I realize that. I'm saying of those people, I don't think very many will actually meet the 500 million
The
threshold.
500 million, last time I think the highest, the most people we've ever seen was like 22.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to 500, hardly.
So, what would you think the cutoff for 500 be? Like 100 million?
Yeah. I'd say it's pretty low, 180 million maybe. I mean, it's not real high.
I don't
Right.
understand how you can say that's not really high, and I'm sitting here with like 9 million points.
You could do it in like half a day.
Sure. for those of you who can afford to do that.
I was averaging
You're
70
gonna have to spend a little bit of money, but
70
I mean,
million per hour.
it's a skin,
That's a
so
lot,
it's one of those
dude.
things that
Jeez.
if they expect you to spend the $25 on the energy, if you want a skin, I mean it's cosmetic only, so I don't have a problem with them like wanting to get money from skins.
No,
So what do you think
I'm
about
just
the price
pointing out
point?
that
This raid
Well-
was very expensive.
Yeah. What do you think about the price point for 4,000 gems for the Hal Jordan skin?
That was actually surprisingly
That's a
generous.
good deal. It's very low.
I think that's
I-
fair.
I think it's reasonable. Like, let's say, what if it was cheaper? What if it was more expensive? So let's say it was like
if it
8,000.
didn't come with the shards, would you
Mhm.
still pay 4,000 for it?
Definitely.
No. I wouldn't because, well, here's the other thing. It's also Hal Jordan, so that's kind of like, eh. But if I was looking from the perspective of a new player who would need as many shards as they get, the shards is what makes the deal for me, right? Because it's a decent, hefty amount of shards, and at a good rate. Plus, you get the skin, right? But the
No,
fact
honestly,
is,
I thought it was going to be way more expensive than that. So
I thought it was going to be $50.
that's what most games charge.
Straight up.
for
No,
skins.
that's
Straight up just cash.
No, but that so you asked
$49.99.
You asked where would I get that number from? There's a lot of other games out there that charge $50 for a skin.
That's the going rate for skins typically. So that's why I was very surprised it was that
Yeah.
cheap.
That's gross.
$49.99.
Doesn't Overnight or Overwatch charge that much for skins?
No, they buy. Well, theirs are random, so you have to buy loot boxes basically, and then you randomly get skins.
Gross.
But the game's free.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a skin, so. And you get
All
the things to randomly win the skins by just playing the game too, so you don't have to buy them. But for people that don't play very often, if you want them, you get the loot
It's
box.
whether or not you're impatient.
Right. So now we know that we have Hal Jordan and we have Atrocities. So who else would be on the chopping block? So I'm guessing basically all the characters in Siege are the skins that we're going to get first.
Well, I would say you mean in raids?
Or sorry, yeah, raids. So that would mean
Because they were
All the Black
colored them.
Lanterns already have their skin, so yes. All
Yeah.
of the Black Lantern skins would be the ones that we have already.
They do
had.
different skins for Man Bat in them. I can't remember.
No.
no, they didn't.
No.
They were the same.
No.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. Then, so after the Black Lanterns, what would be the next potential skins we would get?
I have
And
an
would they all-
idea. I would like to see holiday themed skins. I'd like
Yes.
to see some fun things. Like for example, like during Christmas time, you could do a Santa skin, you could do a gingerbread man skin.
You can go nuts on Halloween.
You can make somebody look like a candy cane. Just fun things for St. Patrick's Day. Make someone look like a leprechaun. You know, like all green and stuff.
You have to get Mix's Pitalik and then get a leprechaun skin. That's what you need.
Just give Chemo a goddamn shamrock and a hat.
And also make him 20 foot tall.
Well, yes, he needs to be 20 foot tall. There's your leprechaun.
So, all right. What else was we going to say about raids? I can't remember now. That's probably because it's so
Because we get
boring. But we're
distracted
still
by
doing
making Chemo good again.
it. Hopefully that rework's coming sooner than later. All right.
I'm
So-
shooting for April.
Yeah, it's fair.
I'm gonna apply my pressure to WB.
You are in the position to do so. So.
Not really.
Anyways, I mean, all right, let's get to the topics though. So, on the topic of raids, Fry's topic, as his Patreon topic for the month was, what are our tips for raids? What other tips? that we
Make
can
friends with caffeine. Have
Yeah.
a credit card.
do?
If you're serious about raids, level 80 all your characters that are in the raid.
Does it actually make a difference between 70 and 80 though? In terms of
Oh,
what
yeah.
they
Big
get?
difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want all the stats you can get.
Okay. So you want to level 80 them and rebirth them if you can?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, it really depends what your goal is.
Okay. Now, let's say in terms of rather than just trying to beat it quickly as possible, is there like a good pattern? Is there any consistencies, like things that people should, best practices, I guess?
I'd say experiment with teams where you can get a full attack in, where it's not just brief, and test a bunch of different comps, because you'll find that surprising comps work better than others.
Okay. So does that also involve like using as many of the bonus tunes as possible then? Because sometimes some of the bonus tunes kind of suck.
I mean, yeah, that's the other thing. Just running a team of X5 isn't always the best. You want to vary it up, because a lot of times there's a terrible bonus tune in the group.
Okay.
Animations matter.
So what about, like, for example, character types and leaders then? Like, for example, right now in this current raid, you have Atrocitus and Saint Walker that are like the popular ones, right? So would you more often than not use Atrocitus just because of like his off the like right out of the gate, everyone's like smashing.
I would say that I'm not using him very often this raid, but we don't want to give away our teams right now, so.
Fair enough.
But
that was like the thing.
It's not being the leader most of the time.
That was the thing that we had in most of the other sieges when he was a bonus character, and even times when he wasn't a bonus character, a lot of people were using Atrocitus. So it was like Atrocitus and 3 X5s, right?
He just makes autoing easy, is the thing.
Yeah.
In characters, you want them to use their basic, but in this raid, it's slightly different.
So in terms of like actually going in and doing the battling, when you get to like the higher levels, are you guys still hitting and running?
Oh, you mean the 150 bosses? I don't do them at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't do them at all either, and I never do a hit and run.
Yeah, it takes too much time.
Because I think people will actually like start doing it. Like they do like they hit, run, or they hit and then share, and then everyone's hitting and running, and then you get to that point where like no one's actually hitting the boss anymore. So like it's just like a bunch of people like waiting for someone to complete it, and it never gets completed. That happened last time.
I'll clear my 150 just because it clogs all the rest of our alliance mates board. But other than that, I don't do them. I don't touch them. I just ignore them.
You don't want to have to sit through like a minute and a half.
I don't even start them. I just let them sit and expire.
Fair enough. All right, so those are the tips from the owls. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys have on top of your mind before we move on? We good? Okay.
I think that's it for raids.
All right, so LMR's topic next. He's asking, would a team alliance PvP be a nice addition to the game? And his second question is based on synergy team comps. What's the most powerful in the game? So something like speed teams, bleed teams, etc. And to answer his second question, when I kind of joked in Discord, but it wasn't really, it was like a half joke and a half truth. I said basically the best synergy team in the game is Lex plus 3 other characters.
Basically, yeah.
As long as they buff.
Yeah.
No, I would say probably the top Lex team, I would say, just based on its effectiveness, and also it's pretty annoying to face, is that Lex, Castaway Green Arrow, Wonder Girl, Donna Troy. That's pretty much solves all problems. Yeah.
That's my auto team. That's the auto team I use.
Yeah.
The auto team that I've been using is Lex, Castaway, Beast Boy, and Donna Troy.
Yeah, that's a really good one too. I run that one every now and again.
My auto team is not as good as those, but it's just because I like the characters more. I use Lex, Castaway, Firestorm, and Mary. So basically, like that auto team, if you hit auto, everyone does their 3 first, and all of their 3s are AoEs that do buffs. So.
My Red Alert team is Lex, Beast Boy, Mary, Donna Troy.
Yeah. I like Mary. Mary's so good. Mary's so good right now. Yeah.
Criminally underrated.
Like 7 characters I don't have yet still.
She's definitely underrated, and I'm coming around on really liking her.
So I mean, to not talk only about Lex though, in terms of synergy and powerful teams, I think speed team or meter control teams are probably where it's at right now. Otherwise, right?
I'm still running my
Yeah.
stun team, and I can clear every board with it.
All right. Well, there you go.
To be fair, though, stun teams are a version of a meter control team.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't touch your meter, so
just
that's the
to
way
be
I look at it.
fair,
The other,
it does though because you're losing 100% meter
yeah. Well, okay.
technically.
I don't
So,
think it's not a meter team. It's a stun team. They're
all
different.
right. So here's the other thing about what was the other one? Bleeds. Now this is Ogre's wheelhouse. So what makes bleeds good, or what that makes it like not good enough to be like a powerful team synergy right now?
Okay, so I think right now actually is a good time for bleeds. A lot of the bleed characters have come up in value. And that's just because a lot of the reworks have done a really good job in bringing up, powerful characters. It's not necessarily saying bleeds are strong. So that's the issue with it. Bleeds, when you're looking at them, you can look at them in two ways. You can either look at them as, this is my win con, I want them to bleed out. Or you can look at it as, I want to have these bleeds just in case I don't kill somebody, and then they can bleed out. Somebody like Red Hood is going to be on that latter side where he's going to hit them, hopefully kill them. If he doesn't, they have a couple bleeds on him to try and bleed out. Black Manta, Siren, a lot of the fast, aggressive, physical ones are going to be in that wheelhouse. Whereas characters like Lobo, Constantine, they're going to try and use the bleeds as the win con. So those are kind of the main things there. I think that again, more aggressive, use the bleeds to kind of help you win the match at the end is where you really want to be at.
Fair
For
enough.
most players.
So
Now,
you had a
with Black Mask, I'm still
Mhm.
going to be building Constantine, Black Mask, Chemo, and Lobo. So
You had a question over here from Street Exorcist 7. Yes, what's the essential thing you need for a bleed team?
again, I don't think there is an essential. However, I still think probably the best linchpin in any bleed team, if you have this, it makes it a lot better, and that's Lobo.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's fair.
He makes bleed teams good because the bleed teams, one thing they suffer from is they need a taunter to protect them. There's only 2 bleed taunters, and that's Bizarro and Lobo. I think Lobo is the better choice. Lobo also has the revive mechanic, which supports Constantine. It supports a bunch of other stuff. Like, you get a lot more value out of Lobo.
Yeah.
It gives you the time you need for the bleeds to take effect.
You could also run characters that give you pseudo taunters. It's like Constantine and Ivy, right?
You have Constantine and Ivy, sure. But even when I'm running Constantine, Ivy, Chemo, I still run Lobo as my 4th character.
Fair enough.
Like,
That's good.
He shores up a lot of the things that you need him to do. He's tanky enough to take the hits while the bleeds do their effect.
Right.
If you're trying to build a bleed control team.
For me, I think it's been a while since I've put a video up there, but my team synergy, as most people know, is special damage, so intelligence-based teams. And I think that intelligence, although it's not really a synergy, but it kind of is, because it's like a whole category in and of itself, right? But it doesn't synergize in the way that it is like a mechanic, like there's something happening so that you're capitalizing on that mechanic. It's just that it's like saying strength is a mechanic that is like a synergy. So, but for example, if you were to look at int down, for something.
I think that you're actually kind of misleading on that one, because when you say that int in itself is not a mechanic, it is, because int is both offensive and defensive. So if you start applying int downs or int ups, you're actually doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Whereas strength downs don't affect your damage being dealt. It's just how much damage you're taking.
Right.
Whereas you need to apply agility downs if you want to do more physical damage.
And also, it can even be even more effective against an enemy intelligence character, and you're also intelligence based if you're applying int down. And also on the opposite side, because it makes you either more defensive or them weaker, right? So on the buff versus debuff side. So that's something to think about when you're thinking about synergy team composition. So, for example, one of the teams I was talking about before that I want to build on is a debuff team based on int down, like characters like Constantine and so on and so forth, right? But the opposite is, for example, high buff int teams. So characters like basically any Lex team right now. So you get back to that whole Lex plus 3 other characters, but because Lex is just he makes everyone so good.
And I had somebody asking, I can't remember where I saw it. They were asking about my stun team and do I use it against other HAL teams because you can't stun them. The answer is yes, because I've been running mainly Catwoman, and with Lex's Hammer, you purge the buff immunity. Catwoman can purge buffs with her basic and her kick, and her kick will remove the buffs before it stuns. So then I just focus with Killer Frost on the character that has the buff immune removed and nuke them down, and then they'll by the time you get to that point, the buffs start falling off.
Yeah.
When you
okay. Is there any other mechanic that you might want to see like become more synergistic? Like I think we all want disease to like really take off, but then again, it's like basically just Man Bat holding it down right now.
I'd really like to
But
see.
There's only 2.
Yeah, but I'm saying we need to
see Silence become something, even if they didn't want to rework Silence. So let's just, because I know we've thrown the ideas around reworking Silence, but you could make Silence good without changing it if you have a character that hugely capitalizes off it.
Passive silences.
I think Ravager has room to be, queen of that spot.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Alrighty, so to the second part of Elmar's question, he was asking about Alliance PvP as an addition to the game. What do you guys think about that?
That sounds really fun.
Would love that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So what would that entail? Like, I'm just trying to picture this.
You could do a ladder system and then have alliance versus alliance, and then as you win, you gain up the ladder until it becomes 2 alliances that face off and then go to the top.
So it's tournament bracket?
Yeah. Oh man, that would be so much fun.
That would be amazing.
Because I had an actual idea that could, I think, what if on Alliance mission days for your PvP, you actually tried to fight alliances ahead of you in your PvP instead of being random? Like you actually.
So basically, like bracket based, kind of.
Well, no, like let's just take the top 10 as an example. Number 10 would attack either 9 or 8. Number 9 would attack 8 or 7. And then the number 1 could attack whoever they want because they're number 1. But everybody, and that way they would gain points based on, where they are in the structure.
Right. You're trying to displace the people ahead of you.
Right.
That makes sense. That sounds interesting. Sounds more like a rat race,
there would
right?
need to be point erosion as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd have to be able to take away points.
Okay. We need to whiteboard this idea and then send it to WB.
Yeah. I love the idea of a tournament bracket.
Love the idea of a tournament. It's so good.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. I want to see more PvP here in 2020.
Yeah.
And I want to see more PvP where it's just not mindlessly attacking, like endlessly. Like who can do the most attacks?
But I also want to see more
Siege.
like alliance involvement, like alliance competition, right? Like raids is a good way to get your alliance together, but then it got so boring so fast that it's kind of just like, do we even want to stick around for raids anymore? So just like, do we need these resources?
It takes no thought. I mean, it takes 5 minutes. Well, not it. Once you craft your teams, it's just press, tap, 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 tap.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing else to it. There's no you're not struggling in the fight to come up with a manual strategy. You're playing it on auto. You're tap, tap, tap. It's not fun at all. But I do not want them to waste 1 more minute on raids. I want to be done with it. I want them to move on. Give us something new, something fresh. Move on already. We're done. We don't want to. We just stop tweaking it. You got it so that the bosses spawn now. Good job. Move on.
Fair enough. All right. So let's move on from there, and then we'll wrap it up there for those questions. Now, before we get into the audience questions, and a reminder to you guys, if you're here on Discord, you guys can call in if you want to. Just let me know in the chat, and I'll give you speaking permissions to ask your questions. Otherwise, type in the chat what your question is on YouTube. Type in your questions on YouTube, and from there,
I'm gonna go AFK for just 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
sure. And then, but yeah, before we get into that, we'll talk about WRL announcements. Right now, we're in this sort of like weird state. You guys might have seen some videos on YouTube where we're looking at Magic Mana Strike. It's another game that we're all kind of interested in. A lot of us play Magic.
Huzzah!
Yeah, and a lot of us like RTSs, so this is like a perfect fit. So this is something that's probably coming down in the future. Don't feel like, we're taking over our channel and we're getting away from DCL. DCL is always going to be like the main thing, at least for right now. But we're going to turn the channel into something more variety based, but it's going to be a slow progress towards that. So I think DCL is going to be at least 90% of the content you're going to see there. Don't worry about that. What else is there? In terms of streaming, there's been a lot of like recently consistent streaming from Kage, basically. Kage's holding down the fort. And then from time to time, we'll have some of the other guys poke in too. But I think we're going to try to get that calendar set up at some point. We've got to figure out what everyone's schedules is and what people can commit to. So, and right now we're at the point where we're committed to once a week, and I think we're reasonably on that. Yeah, we're not too far from our $150 goals, and if we get to that, we have to do twice a week. I think that's going to be hard to do right now, but we'll see.
Guys, I caught an intruder.
Yeah, I saw Doom. Doom showed up. What the hell?
Is Doom here?
A wild Doom appeared.
Doom, are you there?
He's there. He's not talking. Never mind.
I think hate mail had to go get him. That was the problem.
Oh, that was it.
I'm back. What are we getting?
Doombox. A wild Doombox has appeared.
Wait, what?
Hate mail
Wait,
went
can you guys hear me?
AFK, and then you
Yes,
showed
we
up.
can hear you.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Hello, Doom.
We're recording
I
live.
didn't realize that my thing wasn't muted. Hi.
It's funny that you're a
Doom.
caster and you have talking permission.
Doom.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right. So, anyways, we'll get to the Q&A part. Perfect time for Doom to show up. So, if you guys have any questions for us or Doom, you can ask them directly on the Discord chat and on YouTube.
Doombox ooh woo.
That,
What do I not like about Vixen? Well, I mean, I don't like the fact that her kit doesn't have any self-synergy for the most part. Like, it would have been so easy to have this effect triggers if blank, then do X or Y. And then just have her other moves implement that idea. So that instead of her being like, oh, I'm only a rhino, instead it's like she shapeshifts between each different animal to gain different effects. And you can kind of craft your strategy on the go. I think that would have been a better approach to it. Also, her leader ability is too weak, and I don't know. I just don't get her. I feel like they could have done more, and they kind of let it down.
that is an interesting take on Vixen. Like having her have to be a different animal to get different things. That would be
Doombox's hot
is,
takes.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's neat. Otherwise, you just keep using one thing and it just gets boring, right? But all right,
At least her basic will reset it now 100%.
that's fair. Yeah, that's true.
So comic accurate. It's just comic accurate to make her like that, because she uses her little totem to shift between animals, and she needs to cool down. But screw comic accuracy.
Fair enough. So apparently, people are just
Could have kept it
get
kind
the
of
idea of
accurate
it.
and gave it synergies for itself.
Yeah. Like, I get the idea of there being a cooldown. That's fine. That's why she has her basic ability to refresh that cooldown if you need to switch tactics. But I feel like there could have been more to it than what we were given, you know?
that's
Like,
fair
sure,
enough.
I wish your leader
cooldown,
gave the
but-
whole team stamina. Or the
Already.
hit point extra. That would have been great.
We got a question in from YouTube. It says, apart from Lex, who is the best reworked tune in the game? So when we think best reworked, do we think of like best overall, like power level right now, or like where they were and where they are now type of gap difference? How are we going to define it?
Hal Jordan.
Hal Jordan, okay, that's fair.
Lex Luthor.
Aside from Lex.
Okay, for
Wait,
me,
what
it's
was-
two.
The other
What was
Lex?
the question?
So it's the best reworked tune aside from Lex. So for me, I look at this question as like where they were before and after the rework. And for me, it's two characters. It's Bane and Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Swamp Thing was really good. But I'm gonna
Bane
go
and
with
Swamp
the
Thing were
other.
like trashed here before.
I would put Doomsday in there as well to some extent because before the rework, Doomsday was okay, but you really had to hard carry for him. But after the rework, he could just fist fight Wonder Girl to death, and it's like, it's so good.
Wait, you can?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can.
Okay. All right. So, okay. We're not getting a lot of questions in. Anyone else have questions for us before we wrap things up? Anybody have a question? Any of you guys want to ask questions?
What are some reworks that you guys want to see this year?
Oh,
Batman CC.
Kimo.
I've been really thinking about this, and I think the character I want to see most, two characters actually. One, I really like to see Mirror Master, but I think the character I want to see most is Riddler.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you always wanted the Jay Garrick rework.
Yeah, that's up there too. Because I love his kit. They just need to hyper increase it. But I don't know. Riddler is just one of those characters. I've always really liked him as a character, like in the comics and everything. And I want an excuse to rebirth him to give him the Iris Muscle Man costume and annoy people.
you could just buy the skin if you wanted to, but
I don't. I only do that in very rare. I only did that for Barda. She was the only exception. I just couldn't stand that legendary outfit.
I like to see her big booty.
Too.
All right. I guess our questions are kind of like running out here, so it's a good time to wrap things up.
One thing we should mention on here too is that we're going forward. We're gonna start. We've kind of gotten into that Magic Mana Strike game a little bit, not crazy, but so you might see a little bit of that content in our feeds. So
I just talked about that. Yeah,
we did bring that up
Oh,
while
okay.
you were away, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was saying to the people like who may be worried about that, it's not going to be a big thing, at least for right now. And I would say probably like, in the distant future, it could be.
It's probably just going to be me making videos
for a very short time, at least, because for right now, I don't have the time to like really invest into a second game. I can barely like just do this once a month podcast and run DCL.
Yeah, this won't be like Ion. I don't plan to spend any money on it. Just a casual side game that we may make a little bit of content for occasionally. Yeah.
No.
It's just kind of like a simple game. There's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's a simple card game. Ion was like a monster. There's so many freaking things in that game. But
it's a game you can play very casually and feel like you're having fun and put it down and pick it back up later. You can play for 10 minutes.
The thing about RTS though is that it has a lot of potential to grow into something like, League of Legends or
Clash Royale.
Yeah. So basically you get to the point where it could become like a super esport if it gets more complex, right? So we're at the point where we're thinking, okay, where is it going to go from here? What's the potential? The IP is really, really, really strong, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of potential there. So, and we'll see what happens.
What about Diablo Immortal?
What about it?
We don't know if it's ever. Yeah. Well, I still passively follow it. I don't know how into it I'm going to be anymore because they said they're not going to do PvP in it. And that if there's no PvP, I don't care about a game.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I'm with
Whereas Magic Mana Strike is just PvP.
Yeah, that's why I like it.
Yeah, it's only PvP.
When I actually just realized I blinked and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of questions on YouTube now. So let me ask them real quick. So there was a question from just Shadow 82. Why is Red Robin S tier? Is he?
Yeah.
He's really good.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's really
Really
good.
annoying.
very
really
consistent, low damage, mind you, but buff immunity, massive amounts of turn meter plus true sight, which you really can't neglect. The ability to purge off huge amounts of buffs and also not miss on the purge. I
And he
mean,
takes like
really
8 turns.
so good.
Even his damage when he crits, especially against Mystics, it's not terrible.
He
It's
can
not
actually
great, but it's
one-shot.
not terrible.
Sometimes he can one-shot a blue.
Every now and again.
Yeah. All right. We have another question in here from Dylan. He asks, who has the best leadership that doesn't have anything to do with healing? So that would mean Lex is out of the picture.
Red Hood.
Yep. I would say Red Hood's up there in terms of best
What
leadership.
was the question? I missed it.
A leadership that doesn't deal with healing. Best
Hal
leadership.
Jordan doesn't deal with healing.
Now, here's a question. Does shielding count as quote-unquote healing?
It's preventative measures that allow you to stay healthy.
Okay,
yes?
so then Hal Jordan's off the table.
I don't know.
I would say he's off the
I don't know
table.
what's happening.
We're asking who the best leader is that's not
I'm
a
just
healer.
joking.
Okay.
My coronavirus is kicking in.
Oh my
Here's-
god.
I had a
No.
lot of
Here's-
corona last night. I mean, a lot.
Oh, that coronavirus. I see. The one that served with lemon.
Yes.
Or lime,
Lime.
rather.
Yeah,
Or
live.
was it lemon? I don't know. So, anyways.
Struggle.
What was I talking about? Oh, what about B12? So, does Brainiac count?
What about B12? That guy's garbage. Who cares?
My favorite leader.
Get that trash out of here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about St. Walker. I think that he's underappreciated. Like
We talked about St.
15%
Walker.
extra
We said how much
stats
we liked
is
him.
super beefy.
You were just saying that
The entire
St.
podcast
Walker.
was about him. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Hate was saying St. Walker sucks.
I never said he sucked. I said I like him. I just said that he's still outshined by Lex and Hal. But
Oh
he's
yeah,
right
but
up there
everyone's
with them.
outshined by Lex and Hal.
Yeah, but he's right up there
Right.
with them.
So, let's see here. Do we have any more questions?
There's
Let's
a
see.
bunch of 150s from non-alliance mates I can hit and run.
I got another one here from Dip Day. Dip Day asks, do you guys think the speed meta is making the game way too boring than it actually is? Yeah,
There's
Hey, are
speed
you trying
meta?
short answer, yes.
Hey, are you trying to
What's
hijack my
speed meta?
150 right here? You mother... I'm gonna get this guy.
What are you guys talking about, Lee?
What are you guys talking about?
He's stealing.
Really?
He's trying to
It
steal one
sounds
of my
like
alliance
Hate
bosses.
Mail just took Kage's 150 boss.
This guy, he's. I don't attack 150s.
I have to take
all right. So
Oh my
I guess the short
God.
answer to Dip Day's question was yes. The speed meta is making the game boring.
Is there speed
No.
meta?
There's not a
It's
speed
Lex
meta.
There
meta.
is in Siege.
I don't
it's-
know. Like it just feels like it's just a bunch of teams with Wonder Girl and or Lex or one of the other.
which is
Like,
basically
Girl
a
and
speed
Donna
meta.
Troy.
Is that a speed meta? I feel like that's
No.
a
How
is that a
sustain
speed meta?
versus
That's not a speed meta.
anti-sustain meta.
Well, if you go first, basically you can't lose.
That's not true.
Yeah, you can.
Well, okay, fine. All right, so maybe we're not talking about that then. But let's say there is.
Explain us your reasoning.
So I'm thinking speed meta looking in the avenue of like how it used to be Green Arrow, the Flash, literally like everything dies before you get a turn. I don't really think that's much of the issue anymore. What with Donna Troy running around and being Donna Troy and there being so much sustain possible. Like
Big Barda.
it's almost guaranteed unless you're specifically running a very, very certain kind of cheese that you're not going to kill a person entirely on their first turn before they get a turn. Like it's not like old school Firestorm where you could load them up with 10 buffs and then all of a sudden the entire enemy team's dead before they get one turn.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
I think he's right.
So to summarize, most of us will think that yes, the speed meta is making this boring, and Doombox thinks it doesn't exist. Okay, so
No, I mean, it's it's a lot easier to counter than it was, but it does get a little boring. It's like, okay, they have reverse flash, that means I need to bring B12. If they have B12, then you want to bring other extra speed
Bring
characters. So
Iron
it gets a little
Flash.
tedious in my mind, but
All right. So let's wrap it up here with the last couple of questions here from Sweet Exorcist. Sweet Exorcist actually asked a question I'm not going to answer because it's about Marvel Strike Force, and I don't think anyone here plays Marvel Strike Force anymore, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. I heard there's some big new event that sounds cool. They do cool
Yeah.
events. I just don't like the
They're
game.
So
talking about
actually-
Mhm.
Actually, there's a huge protest going on in Marvel Strike Force right now. I'm talking to Scotty Mack about it and a few other people. And
Yeah.
what it sounds like is a lot of the top alliances have petitioned, and I think what they're doing is they're boycotting spending in that game. I think they have 13,000 people who are refusing to spend, and that's like the huge chunk of their spending population.
13,000's a lot. That's no joke.
Like that's
So-
probably most of their whales.
Yeah, so all
that'd
their
be like
whales,
13 of us in DC.
yeah, so
Legends.
all their whales have decided, hey, we're not spending. Screw you, Foxnex or whoever is. No, Foxnex actually sold MSF to another company. I have no idea who it is. So
Yeah, it's a big one. I can't remember which one it was, but yeah, I read that.
yeah, so they sold their company, and so this company is having valuation troubles right now because all their spenders are not spending on their resources.
What are they protesting for? Like, what's the
company
reason?
that
So-
bought it is called Scopely.
Yeah, so basically what's happening is they're making resources like way too scarce in that game. So imagine Gear 12, but it's super RNG to get, and Rebirth. Imagine rolling a dice to see how far you could rebirth a character, and it costs a lot of money to try and rebirth
If
that
Rebirth
character.
was a loot box,
Yeah,
Man,
like you didn't get crystals, you didn't have to farm shards. Literally,
Sounds like
your loot
Ion.
box.
yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like what happened to Ion.
Yeah.
Sounds like
I love how Mirror Mast in chat's picking up on this. Like, we should protest. Yeah, all 30 of you of the owls will protest, and nothing will actually happen.
To be fair, DC
We could-
Legends is a very, very balanced monetization system.
The more we've played
comparatively
other
to a
games,
lot of
we've
these other
realized
games.
that as much as you complain about the costs in DC Legends, in comparison to its
It's
competitors,
low.
it's extremely reasonable.
Oh yeah. It's like they give you what's essentially a free 5-star character every single month. With the new weekly bonuses, you get an extra 4,000 gems a month plus the natural 4,400 you get every month. So get about
It's like
8,000 gems a
12,000
month.
total gems.
just
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
signing in.
It's 12,000 now.
Yeah.
Yep. Back in the day, it was half that amount. It was about 6,000. I remember actually
Yeah.
making a video on like the beginner stuff, and I remember walking through the login bonuses, and 6,000 was the number.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right.
The game has gone in the right direction in a lot of ways. So
They've even increased how much gold you get. The Siege tune, it's actually easier to get shards for than the freebie tune now, and you can get Legendary 5 easily on the
Yep.
freebie tune.
So things are getting good. Let's keep it
Yeah.
up. Let's
You
let's
just
not
put in the
not
work.
strike too soon. Let's not
to be
like
fair,
a
you have to
pitchfork
be smart. You have to be smart. But that being said, it's not hard to do if you know what you're doing.
All right.
Maybe
Um,
we should go advertise on the Marvel Strike Force boards and say, hey, come on over to DC.
Yeah.
no, they're gonna be like, when's the last time you had new content?
New content every month.
Every month.
Fair enough.
And compared to them, they literally don't get it every month. So
Oh, they don't, huh?
I don't think so.
But then again, they're only 2 years old versus 3 or 4 years
And they
old
have like
now.
8, all the modes we've ever hoped for, but
Yeah.
Their content is really cool.
They're raking in $55 million a month, I think, or year. Sorry.
That's all right. It's
Eh.
not bad.
Or is it a
all right.
month? I have no idea.
Okay, so let's just wrap things up here because we're getting really long in the tooth. So the last question from Sweet Exorcist is why was Cyborg Superman ever considered S tier if he doesn't heal? Was he
all
considered
M4.
S tier? Did we ever put him in S tier?
Yeah, it was M4.
We
Once
briefly
upon
had
a time,
both.
you guys did.
Yeah.
Like I would put him at S tier because me. So, but otherwise, I think realistically, he's a very good A, like a solid mid to high A.
To my understanding of it, the reason you guys rated him that high is because that was one in the midst of the baby Lobo, whatchamacallit, where he could just sit there and take hits from Deathstroke all day. And then it was also right after they had changed the
we're
talking about the
Fed's
rework.
changes.
The rework.
Meaning that he was taking next to no damage from Reds, feeding into the first thing. So you guys were like, yes, S tier, perfect.
No,
Yeah,
I think
have
we
the
put
tier
him
list
S
back then.
tier. We put him S tier because he was one of the only green counters to Man-Bat at the time.
Really?
And he
That's
had
weird.
he had can't miss, he had purges, and
And if you get to his boulder, he could nuke him.
and yeah,
Oh, weird.
take hits
I
from
don't know
Black
what I
Adam
was
all
thinking
day.
of then. Maybe I was talking to someone.
You're
and I was
thinking
saying
of
that he was high
way
tier because-
old. You're thinking of like 2 years ago versus this
Before
year.
tier lists even exist.
Oh,
That
well.
was so Gear 10 ago.
Hey, I'm old, okay? My memory's leaving me.
Wow.
Dinosaur entered the chat.
Yeah.
Doom, aren't you like the youngest one here except for Kage?
Yeah, I know. So, I mean, if my brain's going, I can only imagine what's happening to your guys. I mean, you still have Etrigan and S tier, so it's...
Yeah, some guy here thinks Brainiac's S tier.
Yeah, you see, Brainiac being S tier is dumb, but I understand that more than Etrigan.
All right, let's wrap with that. We'll wrap things up today. All right, that was fun. So before we wrap things up, before we get to the last closing notes, I'll give some special shout outs. So first, shout outs to our big guns, our LMR 107 at Bruce Wayne level, Fries at the Lex Luthor level, getting them their shout outs and topic suggestions. And then we have a couple of a few new patrons this month. We have, in order of, I guess, patronage, the order in which they came in, it was David C, Defiance, Fairy J, Dexter G, and Dante A. Thank you so much, guys. You help keep the lights on. You guys are awesome. And let's see. So for all you guys, I think one or two people have approached me already about their Patreon roles. But if you haven't already, make sure you join the Redditverse server where this is currently taking place. Message me, DPO4027. If the bot hasn't already set you up with your role, tell me, I will. I'll do it manually. Right. And then if you guys haven't already, there's a couple of people who have been purchasing some merchandise from our store. So you can visit our store at teespring.com/stores/WROL broadcast. I'm going to work on some more stuff in the future. I think that we've unlocked it's like a new type of hat.
You get those
right?
hats, man. I want to order me one.
Yeah.
I
You
tried
get
to
those
make
hats
them,
made.
but I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I'm going to probably, what else do I have to work on? Phone cases? I can't remember what we had to do.
Yeah, we need. I can't remember. I think Fries wanted phone case with the main logo that has the
Oh, right.
characters
Okay,
on
I
it.
can do that.
I
can
want
probably
that
do
too.
that.
Actually, I want to order myself that too.
Hey, if
Cool.
you make a phone case for iPhone, dude, make it with a kickstand, because that's all
We
the rage
can't.
right
We
now.
can't actually decide. So we only make like basic generic plastic ones, and then you can just buy it. You know what I want to make? Pop sockets. Pop sockets are what will sell. Because
Yeah.
all you have to do is put the mic logo on it. It's a circle.
You know, you could just put a big garbage can on the top.
Like the mic
So-
logo, but the logo with the characters is what people will actually recognize. The mic logo, nobody knows what it is outside of our
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, because the characters are all circular too. So that works. So okay, all right. That's maybe I'll have to look into get that made.
Do we want to even talk about the server?
Oh yeah. So actually, yeah. So we were talking about how we were potentially branching off, doing other things in the future with Magic Mana Strike and all that. But in the same vein, so if you guys remember back in the day, we had a little dabble with our Ion stuff, and then we also did some stuff with Diablo Immortal and trying to build up hype for that. We created a channel at that time for in Discord called WRI for We Are Immortals, and then that kind of got repurposed. So that now is our WRL broadcast Discord server. We're going to use the Redditverse server for our patron-only channel, but we're also going to have a place, basically a clubhouse, on another Discord server. That's sort of like if things get bad in the future, let's say with DCL, we'll still have that as our home, and the Redditverse will sort of like, it'll become whatever it is. But then at the same time, if we're there to talk about other games, that's the place to be. So if you guys are interested in following us more in like Magic Mana Strike or any other games we play in the future, like Diablo Immortal, if and when that ever comes out, yeah, that's the place to be. So I'll probably try and find a way to put the Discord link for that down below, but it's going to be a place mainly for patrons, I believe, for right now. Is that the deciding factor?
Yeah, I don't know. We got to talk about that offline.
We haven't talked about anything.
Yeah, we haven't figured all this out yet.
You guys are just doing stuff, and I don't even know what's going on.
Don't either. Kinda new to me.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
got here late, so I'm not sure what the plan is, but let's do it.
As you can tell, guys, we're really organized and professional here. So we'll fill you in on that once we have that sorted out. So, anyways, if you guys want to be heroes like the rest of the patrons we mentioned earlier on, you guys can help us keep the lights on and consider supporting us over at patreon.com/WROL broadcast. And with that, good night, guys.
Later, guys.
Later.
Hey everyone, it's Tootitron. Thanks for listening to WROL Broadcasts. If you like the show, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/WROL Broadcasts. So apparently, DP over here is popping a squat in his parents' basement. Now, DP, I know you just came from some foreign land and everything, but here in North America, living in your parents' basement is unacceptable behavior. That's why I live in my parents' upstairs bedroom. Get on my level, bro.